Just before we get into this week's podcast, I just want to say thank you to our sponsor. And our sponsor this month is Zebra Pen. Zebra is a returning sponsor this month. And at Zebra, they're serious about making the best pens possible, which means that their lab team is always testing, innovating, and perfecting ink formulas. They like to help people learn more about the characteristics of pens, ink types, and terminology, so the pen you choose delivers the best performance for your needs. And they sent us a giant box full of swag to give away at our drawing events, as well as our daily drawing challenge for this month will be a Inebri-art pen product prize package. Oh, that's a lot of P's in there. So thank you to Inebri-art pens. You can go to zebrapens.com and check out their products, and make sure you check out our Facebook page for the Daily Drawing Challenge for that giveaway. And if you're in Plymouth or the San Angelo, Texas area, you can go to our drawing events, and we'll be giving away some products as door prizes there as well. So thanks again to Zebra, and thanks, guys, for listening. All right, welcome back, Inebri-ites. This is Andy of the Inebri-art podcast, and we are here again at the Craft Beer Cellar on Main Street in Plymouth, our favorite place to pick up some cold beverages, beer, wine. I think they have sake now. If you're in Plymouth, you can feel free to stop in and check out what they have to offer. They have beers from all over the country. And we are actually here today with Dave McDermott from McDermott Glass Studios, who we found out about from one of our other podcast hosts, Jordan Chabot of the Speedwell.
Great guy.
He's all right. Because you made all the glasses over there at Speedwell.
Yeah.
So how long and how did you get involved in art glass?
I've been doing it for 47 years.
Yeah.
It's the only job I've really ever had. So I hear people bitching about their jobs, and it's kind of like, what? I used to live down the street from a glass factory, and I've always been able to draw, paint, stuff like that. So one day, a friend of mine was a night watchman at this place, and said they were looking for an apprentice engraver.
Yeah.
I hope you're not an engraver.
No.
It's the most boring goddamn job on the planet. And then, so one day I got to go into the blowing room. Somebody was sick, and I saw my master make a swan out of glass.
Yeah.
Takes like 20 seconds. I had never seen it before, so my jaw hit the floor, and I absolutely just could not believe it. I haven't been able to pick up my jaw yet.
Yeah.
So I worked there for like 30 years. My master was from Scotland.
Yeah.
His name was Robbie Mason. And I used to get hit. I'd get screamed at. I had to make tea for him every morning. I had to stand at attention. If I was a 16th of an inch off, he'd smash it. And people go, oh, poor David. I can make anything I want in glass, and it's all because of him.
Because of that rigid...
Well, it's an old European kind of an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So Robbie taught me, Geordie taught Robbie, Will taught Geordie, Geordie was taught by George, it goes back 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So at some point you're at the top of that pyramid with all those people and all that information's funneled to you. Mm-hmm. It's an honor.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy, thank God every day for him. He still stops down the studio. And with my assistance...
Do you still have to make him tea?
Oh, yeah. Whatever the hell he wants, I make it. But he'll be like, with my assistants, he'll be like, if you do this or if you do that. And I look at him like, where the hell was that 45 years ago? And, but they respect him and they respect the line that they come from. And I'm the luckiest guy on the planet.
Yeah. And so you said you worked there 30 years?
Yeah.
And so at that point, did you open your own glass studio?
Yeah, I got, with each owner, it would kind of drop down.
Yep.
And I met my wife, Yukimi Matsumoto, in Corning, New York, which is kind of like the mecca of glass. And
was that like Corningware Corning?
It's where it comes from. But there's the Corning Glass Museum. It really is a center in the world for glass. So I had never really seen other glass before, glass makers. And at the time, I had been doing it for like 27 years. And so I got into this class out there. And my wife she had been blowing glass for 7 years in Japan. And so we ended up in the same class.
Yeah.
And we ended up being the two best in the class. And unfortunately, there was 10 other people in the class, so 5 would hustle towards her to work with her, and 5 would hustle towards me. And we never really got a chance to work with each other.
Right.
So she emailed me and asked me if she could come over. So she would come for 3 months and work with me at the place that I worked. And then she would go back. And we got married. And I just couldn't see her doing the things that they were doing at this place.
Yeah.
Like I said, it kind of went downhill. And so I said, screw it. We'll start our own place.
Now, are there real style differences?
Yeah, my wife is known for color.
Yeah.
I'm kind of known for shape. One of the other fellow glassmakers, Isabel Green, she's known for creatures, animals, sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter just started with us, and he's been with us for 3 years, Peter Wechter. And he's coming along really good.
Nice.
So he's yet to find his niche yet, but I'm sure he will.
Now, what predominantly do you make, like, kind of fine art pieces? Do you make kind of like stuff for gift shops? Like, where?
Yeah, we do pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I worked for somebody else for 30 years,
right.
So I'd go in the morning and be like, we need 25 of these, we need 75 of those. And I said, when we get our own place, we're going to make whatever we want to make.
Yeah.
And so we started out making what we wanted. And, I mean, to this day, we still do.
Yeah.
But you have to, our gas bill is enormous. We have a furnace
I can imagine, yeah.
Runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 2,100 degrees.
Yeah.
So the gas bill that's why we work, is to pay the gas bill.
Right.
So we have to sell it. And Yukimi and I, we're not business people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been in business for 18 years, but every day I just can't believe we're still in business.
Yeah.
So we decided we got to sell the stuff. We're sitting there pounding, making stuff out. In the beginning, it was just Yukimi and I.
Yeah.
And so we took pictures of our work, and we're going to bring a live piece with us, a vase or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'd go start in Sandwich. We'd work our way up to Provincetown to galleries just to find out if we could get in and start selling. So first place we go to, it's a gallery in Sandwich, and the woman, I introduced myself. I said, I'm Dave McDermott. This is my wife, Yukimi Matsumoto. We just started our own studio. I already got a glass maker.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Irish. My skull's like this. So I said, well, thank you very much. And I walked outside, and I told Yukimi, I said, I will mow lawns before I ever go to another gallery.
Yeah.
I'll never do it again. And so I went home, and the light was blinking on the answering machine. And it was a guy from Lenox, Mass., where Tanglewood is.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah, I heard you opened the place. I want to see if I can get some of your stuff. So I said, sure. So he came down, and he bought $14,000 worth of stuff.
Oh, nice.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And then the next week he came down, he bought $9,000 worth of stuff. And this went on for like 2 years. And he was a young kid. But Lenox is kind of hoity-toity. It's
right.
You know, rich people from New York and rich people from Connecticut. They all go to Tanglewood. So that kept us afloat for 2 years. And in the meantime, he goes, come up and check out the gallery. So we go up there, and we're the only work in the gallery.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It was kind of shocking. And so in the meantime, other gallery owners had gone in and seen, and we started getting calls.
Right.
And now we're in like 250 galleries across the country. And,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Amazing to me.
Yeah. And so do you still, because how do you go from a gallery to making beer mugs for Jordan?
Well, I've always, you know.
Not that they're not nice.
No,
they're beautiful mugs, but I wouldn't consider them fine art, you know?
Well, it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
I was brought up real traditional, straight, classic, as far as glass went.
Yeah.
Because of Robbie. He worked at Edinburgh Crystal in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And they did stemware, and they did mugs, and they did presentation pieces. And so, you know, I know how to do all these different things.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of other glassmakers will come in and they'll go, dude, you got to get a style. which means that's what they can only do, like one thing
type of thing,
or two things. Well, I can make whatever the hell I want. So our style is, I want it to look like, when you walk in our gallery, I want it to look like there's 15 different glassmakers.
Yeah.
So we do traditional pieces, we do art glass, we do beer mugs, stemware, sculpture, and we try to change every few months.
Yeah. So do you have a gallery down there, and you're out of Sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a gallery in Sandwich? Or
yeah, we've got a gallery in Sandwich. It's in our house.
Yeah.
And the studio is out back, and people can come in and watch, and then hopefully go in and help us pay for the damn gas bill.
Right. Is there like one type, like, what's your favorite type of thing to make?
It sounds cliche. It really is. It's the next piece.
Yeah.
You know, say we make something really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out the next morning out of the kiln. It has to sit in the kiln overnight. And, you know, you look at it and you go, yeah, that's nice. But I can't describe the feeling when you're actually moving the glass, actually making it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. So when it comes out, yeah, that's cool. But can't wait till the next day that we can make something else.
Right. And so I feel like compared to most art, it has to be a lot more fast-paced, I would assume. Because, I mean, you would have to probably move to, you know, keep the glass hot. And
well, the glass is 2,100 degrees when you're working with it. It's like honey.
Yeah.
It's liquid. So if we stop, we're constantly turning the iron. If we stop turning, it'll drip onto the floor. So we work totally different than everybody else in the country. Everybody else in the country, all the other glass makers work a mongrel American-Italian mix.
Mm-hmm.
They make beautiful stuff. But say they make a bowl, it'll take them like 3 hours to make that bowl.
Yeah.
And they'll put a price tag of $3,500, which is, I guess, justified.
Yeah.
Because of the time. But because of the way we work, the way Robbie taught us, we can do 4 or 5 in that amount of time. And we can charge hundreds rather than thousands.
Yeah.
And the quality is just as good, if not better. And
is there a type of, like, does glass making appeal to a certain type of person? Like, are you all kind of the same?
Well,
cut from the same cloth.
Oh God, I hope not. I get it. Yeah. Other glassmakers. I'm more of a person that wants my work to talk for me.
Yeah.
And then there's yap. You know, people that tell you that Thor touched their forehead and beams of light shot out their ass. I suffer for my art.
Yeah.
And you hand them an iron and they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I understand the passion behind it, learn how to do something before you start yakking.
Start running your mouth.
And you'll find that people that got 30 years in or 25 years in, 40 years in, they kind of lose that after a while. It's usually the person that's got a year or 2 years or 3 years in that are artists.
Right.
I don't really consider myself an artist.
Really?
No, not really. Say we have a vase or a bowl. Somebody comes into the gallery.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's the most beautiful thing they've ever seen.
Yeah.
The next person that walks in the door thinks it's the ugliest thing they've ever seen.
Yeah.
So art is so subjective. Who am I? You know it when you see it. Who am I to tell you I suffered for my art and I did this and was down the beach contemplating the ocean? You know it when you see it. So I leave it up to the person. If somebody calls me an artist, I thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think of myself as a craftsman.
Yeah.
And, it's in the eye of the beholder.
And where do you pull inspiration from?
It's weird. Because of the way I was taught, and I'm one of those kind of weirdos.
Yeah.
I'll see the piece in my head. It'll just pop in there. So, and after 47 years, I know each move.
Right, yeah. You kind of been like, to do this, I got to...
Bing, 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 bing. But what I see in my head is what comes out on the thing. Whereas my wife is more, she'll draw it out. She'll write down the colors. She'll do that. And Peter's kind of like that. And Isabella's kind of a little bit leans toward me.
Yeah.
She'll just come up with something and
work out of her head.
Do it, yeah.
So, what makes the different colors in the glass? Like, and how do you combine them together?
Well, it's metal oxides make the different colors. It's the same thing as glaze on pottery. So purple is manganese, green is potassium bichromate, cobalt is cobalt oxide.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a big vat of sand, and you sprinkle the metal oxide into it. You take a hoe and you mix it all up. You throw it in the furnace and you turn it up. And
so you kind of start from... I don't know why in my head I was thinking you like purchase like a block of glass that you then melt down. So you start from like sand.
I buy a ton and a half of 25-pound bags of sand. It has, it has like soda in it or lime. Different little things. Manganese for a decolorizer. I start out fresh. That's called batch.
Yeah.
A lot of people buy cullet, which is glass that has been made from sand and then cooled down.
And then they melt it down and work from that.
Down.
So you're talking about like a lot of different chemical compounds and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is this caustic? Is this like... are you taking years off your life?
There was a glass maker who sat on my bench, and he was 103 years old. His name was Gilly Gilbranson. And
that's a great name.
Yeah. Well, he was an amazing glass maker.
Yeah.
And he was 103 years old, sat on my bench. He really couldn't do anything anymore, but he had an iron with glass on it, and he rolled it down the bench. He had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he smelled like booze.
Yeah.
Genetics,
right,
kind of leads you this way or that way. You need a dedicated furnace for each color.
Okay.
So I have 2 furnaces. My main one holds 400 pounds of clear glass. So a lot of our pieces have 6 or 7 colors in it. So I would need 6 or 7 furnaces running at 2100 degrees. So there are companies in Germany that have thousands upon thousands of furnaces, and they make color. Mm-hmm. And you can buy it in a rod, or they take that rod and they grind it down into stuff called frit. It's like little pea stones.
Yeah.
Or they grind it even finer into a powder. So we buy these rods and we break off a chunk about an inch. Mm-hmm. We stick it into a kiln and say it was gold ruby.
Yeah.
We take this 1 inch rod, and we take one of the blowing irons with a little bit of glass on the end of it. Mm-hmm. We pick it up and we blow a bubble about the size of a pea into that.
Yeah.
So a 1 inch piece of glass obviously isn't going to blow something very big.
Right.
So then we take layers of clear and gather that over the top, depending how big we want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we blow that bubble out, it forces the color out through the clear. So it gives the illusion of being a ruby vase or a bowl, but it's really a clear vase that has a thin veil.
Little bit of ruby in it. Oh, nice. So that keeps it so you don't have to keep mixing all these different colors.
Right.
Yeah. And how long was kind of the apprenticeship? Like from, I know you said you worked there for 30 years, but at what point were they like, all right, you're good?
Officially, it's 7 years.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it for 47 years,
mm-hmm.
and I still learn.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing thing, and it depends upon the person. I think after 20 years, you're starting to get it.
Yeah.
And there are exceptions. My wife and Isabel.
Yeah. Some people tend to pick things up faster,
right,
and other people may just never get it.
Never.
Yeah. So you're talking about all this, temperature. I assume safety's got to be a huge concern.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an incident where you got?
Yeah, my furnace blew up.
I was expecting like I dripped glass on my foot or something.
No.
Your furnace blew up?
Yeah. I have 1 million BTUs of gas coming into the building.
Yeah.
And each piece has like 5 redundant safety systems on it. So if the lights blink and the air goes off, it's an air-gas mix.
Yeah.
The whole thing will shut down. Or if the gas goes too low, it'll shut the whole thing down. But I had a defective safety thing on it.
Yeah.
That I wasn't told that it was recalled, and it just destroyed the whole furnace. It kept the gas pouring in.
Yeah.
And would ignite like every 20 seconds. And the last time, it really filled up and just destroyed the thing. So I had to go to court.
I feel like you'd have to, change your pants first.
Trust me, I was in my house, which is like 150 feet away.
Yeah.
And I heard boom. And I ran outside, and I heard another boom. And then by the time I got in there, I have these, they're like 40-pound doors that go over the furnace that keep it just this big opening where you get the glass out of it. Mm-hmm. It missed me by maybe a foot, 40 pounds flying across the room.
Oh.
So
wow. I would have never thought of I was just thinking, burns and
2100 degrees, you're kind of focused.
Yeah.
So you may get burned once and you go
you learn pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now, if you're working on a piece that has all these multiple colors in it and you screw up or you hate it or what, like, can you recycle? Like, is there something to do?
No, not if it's contaminated with color.
Yeah.
If it's just clear, I can recycle it. Anything contaminated with color just goes into the... We don't make mistakes.
Come on now. And so you said you worked in New York. What brought you to Cape Cod?
No, I went out for a class.
I misunderstood. All right.
Like I said, it's the mecca of glass.
Yeah. So you've always been based in the Cape here?
I've always lived in Sandwich.
Yeah.
Sandwich and Sagamore.
I have, in my day, met a few glass blowers here and there. They always seem to be young stoners that make one specific kind of glass product.
Right.
And I get it. Like, at some point, it's a matter of what's in demand, and if bongs are what is going to keep you afloat with your gas. But do you avoid stuff like that? Is it just like a
No, I use a different type of glass. You're talking about torch work.
Okay.
Where they have a rod of glass or a tube of glass, and they apply colors to it. It's Pyrex. It takes really high temperature.
Yeah.
Like they have to work at 3,000 degrees, and they have a little torch in front of them. My glass, I have a furnace that's, 10 by 10.
Right.
And I have a 400-pound pot inside that's full of glass. My glass is more sensitive to heat.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never made a pipe and
Yeah.
47 years.
So-
I made out of toilet paper rolls, and apples, and stuff
Apples and soda cans and
Yeah.
so it's just a completely different process.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, those are always one of the ones that I seem to run into. I don't know what that says about me.
Dude.
But so when Jordan approached you, was it for Speedwell or was it for Rose Alley?
No, it was for Rose Alley.
Yeah.
He was a manager up there. And I saw the mug that they had,
Yep.
and he brought it in and had it on a table in my studio. I go, doesn't that fall over a lot? It was really squat. This huge handle coming off the side, so it was really unbalanced. I could see as soon as I walked in the door.
Were these blown glass mugs or were they?
Yeah, they were done by
purchased?
somebody else. I don't know who did them. And he goes, "How do you know that?" And I go, "I mean, it's kind of obvious. You just look at it, and you know it's going to fall over." So I kind of described what we would do, and then I made one and showed him, and he goes, "Yeah." I think it started out with 150.
Yeah.
And last year it was 800.
Holy crap.
This is for Rose Alley.
Yeah.
It was 800, and then this year it was 500. And then Jordan I do all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever he wants.
Yeah, he's a good guy, I suppose.
He is. He really is.
Is there like one... Is there like the Super Bowl of glass making? Like, is there like the one thing that you've left to check off your bucket list?
You mean as far as a piece, or
is there some sort of national competition type thing, or is that just something?
Well, they have this thing called the Glass Art Society has this thing called the Glass Conference every year, and there's so much. I'm trying to be nice.
You don't have to be nice.
Everybody's so pretentious.
Yeah.
At all these things. I've never been to one. I have no desire to. I wouldn't mind going to see some of the new equipment and stuff like that, but it costs a lot of money to go to. They're all over the world,
right?
And but it's like 6 days of. I'm this and I'm that, and I worked with so and so, and I did this and I did that, and there are some great people.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of them.
A lot of name dropping and posturing.
Yeah.
But is there like a piece that you're kind of like at some point I want to? Well, what's the most challenging piece you've ever had to make?
Oh God, man! I've probably made 1 million pieces in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done stuff for the Pope.
Oh wow, really?
Presidents.
Wow.
I made the Kool-Aid pitcher for the commercials. Lowenbrow mugs for the commercials. LPGA, tennis, just a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, it means nothing. Like if the Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a piece for the Pope. If he even saw it, it's like, hey, very, very nice. And it goes into the basement with the 5,000 other things he got that day.
Right.
But somebody that comes into the gallery and goes, oh, I really love this piece. I really, enjoy it.
Yeah.
That means more to me than the Pope or any of
So the small connections with the general public.
Yeah.
Do you get kind of those, you hear stories of people like, they come in and buy something and gift it to someone, or you get a letter back from them. Do you get like that kind of story?
That's makes you feel good.
Yeah.
When you get stuff like that. Or a lot of people, they'll come in on a Friday.
Yeah.
We're going to a wedding tomorrow. I need a piece, blah, blah, blah. So they pick out a piece and they buy it. And then they come back next week and they go, oh, I need another piece. And I go, you just bought one last week for the wedding. She goes, well, we're keeping that one. We decided
we don't like her that much.
No, they get them another piece.
Yeah.
So that happens quite a bit too.
Oh, that's cool. And so you must see a lot of, being on the Cape, you must see a lot of people from all over.
Yeah.
do you kind of like keep track of like where you're? I don't want to keep track, but like, is there like a mental checklist? Like, oh, I know this piece in Iceland, and
we've made stuff for all over the country. All over the world. Japan and Denmark and Belgium, Australia, New Zealand, China. It's out of my control.
Right.
I just make the stuff. Time to make the donuts.
Yeah. And so now you went through all your time training, and you said you have people that you're teaching.
Yeah.
Do you teach them in the same way that you were taught? Do you
I don't hit anybody. I don't scream anybody. But what I was taught, very specific, and like I said before, you're at the top of this pyramid.
Right.
And how much of an honor it is and everything. I'm not going to be the one to vary from that.
Yeah.
So, say I tell somebody new, you got to, when you're doing a certain move, you got to keep your elbow out.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't keep their elbow out, I don't care if it's 10 years, every 5 minutes, I'll tell them, keep your elbow out, keep your elbow out.
Yeah.
And I'll grab their elbow and put it out. Because every little move is very specific, but it's so important. It changes everything.
So it's very physical, and would you equate it to like a sport and kind of a physical?
Yeah. You do get into a zone. Like I said, it's 2100 degrees, so you're so focused on a piece. So when somebody goes, well, don't you get bored making 800 mugs? Well, when you've got the glass in your hand and you're so focused on it, and the next thing you know, you're knocking it off to put it into the kiln, and then there's another one coming around, because we work kind of a Henry Ford kind of thing. One person starts it out, one person does this, one person does that. You tend to forget, what's going on around you.
You're going to lose track of time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
When you were doing it in the beginning, did you think, some 40-odd years later, that it would still be fun and you'd still enjoy it?
Well, I never lost the feeling of it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it so much, just as much today as I did when I was 18. But we only have 2 benches. And the only, I can sit there and tell you all day long what it's like and how to do this and how to do that. Or you can read it in the book, or you can watch videos. But until you get your ass in the bench, experience teaches you everything.
Right.
So what kind of an asshole would I be if I sat in my bench and let everybody watch me?
And you did all the work.
Right. Yeah. So I slowly taken steps backwards.
Yeah.
And the people that I have they're amazing. They're amazing. And the reason it is because they have a bench to work in. And I'm really proud of them.
That's awesome. And so if you, with your 4-person team, how long would it take to make 800 mugs?
Well, I didn't want anybody to blow their brains out.
Yeah.
So we would do it in the morning for a couple of hours and maybe get 20, 25 in, and then move on to something else.
Oh, so you kind of keep it...
Yeah. I know in advance how many they want, and I ask for a few months. There are times where, look, we have a play week. Screw all the orders and everything else, and we just
do whatever you want.
Do whatever the hell you want to do.
So is your house full of beautiful glass, or is this kind of like one of those mechanic things where like the mechanic drives the shittiest car?
I have nothing at all in my house. I'll make a piece and I'll go, ooh, I'm keeping that.
Yeah.
And I'll put it on the counter, and a family member or a friend will come in and they'll go, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and take it. So I have nothing.
Yeah. Do you tend to, like, are you, let me see how I want to phrase this. Do you tend to find that you like your wife's work better than yours, or other people's work?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I wish I brought a piece so you could see the color colors that she uses and how she uses them. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she's kind of known for throughout the country is
The colors.
her colors and stuff like that. And Isabel is right there too.
Yeah.
With her sculptures, just amazing. And like when we're selling something,
Mm-hmm.
like I remember in the beginning, it was like, God, we'd ask for like $75 for something. Now we sell for like $600 or something.
Yeah.
And selling is, you feel like you get your pants around your ankles. It's the worst thing on the planet. I hate it.
I hear that from a lot of artists.
No,
Like, I
it's
just
the
don't want
worst.
to deal with any.
Well, it's that, plus it's embarrassing because I just had fun.
Right.
I remember when I worked at the other place, on a Friday, they'd give me my paycheck, and I'd kind of look around like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't believe this. And I kind of giggle on the way to my car. That they were paying me to do it.
Yeah.
So to take money from something that you love doing, it just didn't feel right. So people would come in, and I'd go $75. They go, oh no, I'll give you $100 or whatever. I go, no, and I would argue with them.
Yeah.
And half the time I'd give them $25 to take the piece and go home.
Yeah. It's a weird feeling when someone spends a lot of money on something you did. I did one of these fiberglass lobsters that's been around town.
Oh yeah.
And it sold recently at auction, and I happened to be out of town. Friends of mine were texting me. It went for $3,000.
Cool.
And it was just, and I wanted to be like, tell the guy I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I
exactly
don't. That's not right.
Yeah.
Are
you sure?
Yeah. Mine, right? Mine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah. Do you feel that's kind of like that imposter syndrome, like where you're,
Yeah.
you feel
I'm
like,
waiting for everything to shit the bed.
Yeah.
We've been, like I said, we have no business being in business.
Yeah.
We know nothing about it. For 30 years, I learned how to blow glass.
Yeah.
I never paid any attention to marketing, advertising, or any of that stuff. So to look out the kitchen window and see the studio,
Yeah.
after we've had our studio for 18 years, I can't believe it.
So do you do any marketing? Like how, or is it more just word of mouth?
Kind of started with it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
And then starting with Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm farting dust. I don't know any of that stuff.
And I feel like being in Sandwich, people are on the lookout for stuff like that.
Sandwich is known. It's called Glass Town, so it's weird that I grew up in a town that is known for glass, and I ended up being a glassmaker.
Why is it known for glass? Like, I've never heard that about Sandwich.
I'm leaving.
Wow.
I'm leaving right now.
I've never heard that before.
Sandwich Glass Factory was during the Industrial Revolution. They started in 1825.
Yeah.
And they were the first ones to mechanize glass. So they came up with this press.
Yeah.
So handmade glass cost this much.
Yeah.
And then mechanized glass was a lot faster and cheaper and quicker. So it should have been down here.
Yeah.
But the guy that did it made them like this.
Right.
So
Much
it was
closer.
still better and cheaper to buy it handmade.
Right.
But it was just a little bit below. So the patent ran out on the press.
Yeah.
And then West Virginia and Pennsylvania and Ohio, they built their own presses, and the price went through the floor.
Plummeted, yeah.
They went out of business. But Sandwich is known throughout the world.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I've never heard but I mean, there's like lots of towns like that. Like, I think it's South Attleboro is known as Jewelry City.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Tiffany's there.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can... Do you feel... Like, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, like, where you're passing along this, hundreds of years old skill.
1,000.
Like, are you interested in the history, or do you go back and kind of?
Yeah. Well, the first glass was, the story is, the Phoenician sailors were the first really explorers, at least around the Mediterranean. And This was 3,500 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they built this huge fire on this beach after they pulled in.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the fire, after like 3 days, they went to kick it out, and clunk, clunk, clunk.
And there's all sorts of glass on the...
There was glass. So the very first bowls, they figured out a way to make a small furnace.
Mm-hmm.
It was all hand-fed air and wood-fired. So they would take the glass, they would make a mound of sand, and then they would pour the glass over the top of the mound, and it would,
be
because it's
bowl-shaped,
liquid,
yeah.
it would just drip down the sides of the thing, and they'd flip it over, clean the thing out, and they'd have a bowl.
Hmm.
The Romans kind of really started it back maybe 1,500 to 2,000 years ago with a blowing iron.
Yeah.
They gathered out the glass and blew it
Has
out.
it changed much since then?
No, again, my master
Yeah.
gave me all his tools when he retired that were given to him by his master, that were given to him by his master.
So basically you're
some
working
of my
with
tools
antiques.
are 400 or 500 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, not much has changed.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I mean, some glass people are using glue and
Yeah.
kind of cheating.
Kind of cheating. It's funny. It's like every time there's like new technology, I met some guys that make museum models. Like, if you go into a museum, you see like a model of a ship, and they build those kind of things. And they were talking about 3D printers. And I'm like, all right, which one of you guys thinks that's cheating? And there was like one guy's like, no, it's not. And everyone else was like, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It is. Put it together hot.
Yeah. So is there, other than glue, is there some sort of advancement in glass making that's kind of frowned upon?
3D printers.
You can 3D print glass?
Yeah.
Huh.
MIT just came up with it a couple of years ago. What's that?
Right.
I'd rather have was it Maserati?
Yeah.
Built by hand? Or Bugatti.
Bugatti, yeah.
Built by hand. Or you can get a Toyota. They cost a little more, but
a little.
It's handmade.
Yeah. So it's your Bugatti parked on the parking lot?
Yeah, it's right outside.
Do you see a time where you step away from glass altogether? Just to kind of
Well, I'm going to get at least 50 years in, so 3 more years. And I teach out in Corning every once in a while. So, yeah, I'm always going to be. When you're born bald.
Yep.
You wear a diaper.
Yep.
And you have no teeth.
Yeah.
Well, I started out cracking off irons.
Yeah.
Gathering bits and doing all this other, putting stuff in the kiln. And then when you get older, you lose your teeth, you lose your hair, and you shit your pants.
Yeah.
You wear a diaper. So I'm kind of going back to that now and just watching. It's just as exciting watching everybody else work.
Yeah.
It's pretty rewarding.
Now, do you teach other classes beyond just your apprentices? Do you do kind of like that casual, come in and we'll make a blown glass ornament kind of thing?
To be honest, I hate teaching.
Really?
I hate it. It takes years to learn how to blow glass.
Yeah.
It's guilt. It costs so much money to run the studio.
Yep.
So for me per hour, to charge somebody to teach them, I feel guilty taking their money. But places like Corning and places like that, they take your money.
Right.
But I can't do it.
Yeah.
Plus, what I can teach you in that amount of time
isn't going to be
nothing.
So it's really something. You don't get like there's no amateur glass blowers.
There are thousands. And they have places where you can go and they say blow your own. You can make a pumpkin, or you can. So I get people all the time. Oh, I made an ornament, or I made a pumpkin. What they do is they take a hose, and they stick it onto the end of the iron. A hollow tube. Yeah. The guy's doing all the work, and he'll go, okay, blow. Oh,
okay.
So your air is inside the thing, but you didn't touch it. You didn't do anything. But it's cool. It's an experience.
Right.
Life experience.
And it gets people, interested in that kind of thing. Is there one cardinal rule that you never, ever do?
Oh.
That unwritten, like, no real glassblower is going to do whatever.
I did see somebody one time ask my master. My master made this. It's called a German goblet. A lot of bits. It's a goblet about this tall.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of stem work on it. And he asked if he could borrow it to show some friends of his at Rhode Island School of Design, Providence. And so after a couple of years, Robbie goes, "Hey, can I get that back?" And the guy gave it back to him, and he had signed his name to the bottom of it.
Oh yeah, that's not cool in any art.
I'm still getting pissed just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And Robbie was like, "Nah, whatever."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Whew."
Yeah.
I'm still pissed.
That's not cool in any form of art. Basically, it's theft.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So where can our listeners go? Like, do you guys have a website? You mentioned Facebook.
Yeah.
Where can they find
McDermottGlass.com.
Yeah.
And then there's just McDermott Glass on Facebook. I'm not sure if we're on Instagram. But we have a website, www.McDermott. What the hell is it? McDermottGlass.com.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can come down and watch us blow on glass Wednesday through Friday, 10 to 5.
So people can just pop in and just check out what you're doing?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the gallery's open every day except Monday, 10 to 5.
Nice. And they can always swing over Speedwell and get some chicken and check out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
the food over there is so good.
It is really good.
Goddamn burgers. He keeps posting them.
Oh, my God. He takes amazing food pictures.
Oh, jeez. I've emailed him a few times saying, knock it off. My boobs are bigger than my wife's already. That's all I need is more fat.
There's been a few times I've popped over there for some wings and burgers.
Yeah.
And
I just took the studio over a couple days last week.
Nice.
We had
what's your chicken wing of choice or burger of choice?
What is it? I just like the regular with, but I like cheese and I mean they're half a pound or something.
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah.
The chowder.
I've never had the chowder.
Oh Jesus Christ, man, get it! It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Every place I go, I always get chowder or chili.
My favorite flavor, and it's not really the flavor. I love the name of the wings. Is I think ex-girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend,
oh, yeah.
And it's a mix of Gold Digger and Hot Mess. And I saw that and I laughed out loud. I'm like, that's Jordan right there.
Well, that's my wife and Isabel and Peter. They like the wings. I'm not a wing guy.
No, yeah.
I want meat.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad you stopped in and talked to us.
Cool,
this was
thank you.
a lot of fun, and we wish you the best. I'll have to get down and check out the...
come on. I'll put your ass to work.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Sweet.
Come on down.
So I just get blow through the tube, right?
Yeah, that's it. No, bullshit. You'll be doing it.
Awesome. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for checking out the podcast. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network. There's the Bar Talk. There's Old Colony Cast. There's, of course, the Inebri-art Podcast. And our latest, Retro Redoctopus, a kind of nerd genre podcast that you can check out now, all available on our website at inebri-art.com. And pretty much available everywhere that podcasts are available, on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those things. And if you don't see it where you're looking, let us know. We'll try to get onto that as well. And you can also email us at inebri-art@yahoo.com with your questions, complaints, and suggestions. And also, if you could take the time to rate and review us on iTunes, that would be phenomenal. That helps us get more exposure and bring more of these great podcasts to your ears. And thanks again for listening.